Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Now, that's so we're gonna do a little Hadith session, man, for after Fajr halakha. Somebody hit me up, man. They got a all Arabic version of Al-Lulu wal Marjan, and they want me to go over it with them and help them, man, kind of teach them and guide them through it. Let me show it real quick for those who are not familiar. So right here, this volume 1, it's a 2-volume set. Al-Lulu wal Marjan is a 2-volume set of hadiths, and all the hadiths in Al-Lulu wal Marjan is the hadiths that Bukhari and Muslim agreed upon. That's why you may hear some people say it's the most authentic book of hadiths, because it's all the hadiths that Bukhari and Muslim agreed upon. So like the hadiths that Bukhari and Muslim both agreed upon are absolutely the strongest. Of course, Sahih Bukhari the most authentic, then Muslim, but the ones that they agreed upon, those are the most authentic hadiths that's out there. So that's why people say that. And in this volume of hadiths is 1,906 hadiths in it. Very beneficial. I love it. I ain't dug into it in a while, in some years. Occasionally I go look into it for a particular one just to see what they agreed upon for some dalil sometime. But alhamdulillah. So I made a comment, man, about for some of the Salafis, right, that they should learn how to be athari. You know what I'm saying? Like really learn how to be athari, and then learn and study minhaj. Because there's really like a science to it. So with this hadith session, I'm gonna put in a little bit of both. Bi-idhni Allah Ta'ala. And of course, I'm catering to the new shahadas, right? Because I want y'all to know how to be athari, right? And then keep in mind, anybody who don't call themselves athari, anybody who don't know what athari is, they not an enemy to us. It's just a creed. Athari is just a creed, and all that means is, if we don't have a matin, some text, you know what I'm saying? If we don't have no narrations, we don't have no text, we don't move forward with it. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to issues that's extremely important in the deen. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me a minute, man. My throat a little dry, man. Y'all drink chlorophyll water? Or like chlorophyll? Stuff that like cleans your blood and different stuff? Getting my blood and my body right for Ramadan, man. I be making like whole gallons of chlorophyll water, and it got purple sea moss in it. You know what I'm saying? So like it's like maybe, I don't know, it's a whole gallon of water. But I think in this one right here I got about maybe 30-40 ounces of like purple sea moss, and then got like some burdock root, sarsaparilla, yellow dock. These herbs, like I make them in a tea and then let it cool, and then add it to the water. Stuff that, like burdock root cleans your kidneys. Yellow dock clean like your liver. Sarsaparilla clean your blood, and they iron heavy. So like women who have like iron issues, low iron issues, drinking like burdock tea and sarsaparilla and things like that, it'll raise your iron. So I use it, clean, get myself together, man. So by the time Ramadan start, I'll be intact, inshallah. So let me get one more swig of that, man. That chlorophyll, man, is good for your cells too. But anyway, so what we're gonna do is, I got a couple of basic books on Jarwah Ta'dil, right? So this is a portion of Minhaj. We're gonna go look to the Salaf and see what they thought about hadiths, about text, right? So this is the Minhaj portion. We turn into them to see how they felt about something, so we can see how serious it is, and then decide and learn how to implement it. We need text, we need text, we need text. So as it start off with the hadith about how the Jews gonna split into 71 sects, the Christians gonna divide into 72 sects, and then the Muslim Ummah is gonna divide into 73 sects, right? And all of them in the fire except for the one sect. So they got Ibn Ahmed, Astaghfirullah, I say Ibn Ahmed, excuse me. Imam Ahmed Ibn Hanbal said in an explanation of this hadith, and this one sect, if they are not the people of hadith, then I don't know who they are. Right? Abdullah Ibn al-Mubarak elaborated on this hadith and said, according to me, then they are the people of hadith. So these all heavy hitters. So this showing the emphasis that they're putting on hadiths. So like right now, in a newer day or time, you have people who say that saved sect is the Salafs. This, you know what I'm saying, the Salafis. And then they had their reasoning. And then some people will say that saved sect is our madhab, our creed. But when you look at it and look at the heavy hitters back in the day, who did they feel like the saved sect was? They referred to it as the people of hadith. Ahlul Hadith. Because Ahlul Hadith has what? The Athar. They have the text, they have the narrations, the matn. But let's continue, right? So Muhammad ibn Ahmed ibn Mabdud said, Abu Ismail Tamiri informed us while we was mentioning the hadith of Muawiyah from his father, who said, the messenger of Allah said, a group from my ummah shall remain victorious. Those who forbade them will not be able to harm them. So basically, like, whoever tried to get in the way of the group of the ummah from doing what needs to be done for the Muslim ummah, they won't be able to harm them. Maybe a little annoying. But anyway, Imam Tirmidhi, from, of course, Tirmidhi Hadith, right? And Muhammad Ismail al-Bukhari, which is Imam Bukhari, said that Ali ibn al-Madini said, referring to this group that's going to remain victorious, they are the people of hadith. Okay? So, as you start to see, you have all of these different things that's going on, and they're really not Ahlul Hadith. Not saying certain madhabs don't have things from hadiths, but we gonna leave that part out. And like certain groups of kalam and rhetoric, they don't actually have hadiths. So when you learning how to be authority or athari, which I say athari, when you learning how to be athari, you need that matin. You need that matin. So I picked out a couple of hadiths that we're gonna look at. I want y'all to hear them and then kind of ponder on it and then figure out like what would you do. So look, so we got another one. Harun al-Rashid. Now he was like the fifth Khalifa of the Abbasid dynasty, right? This man reigned for like 23 years. So like the amount of time that the Rasul had prophethood, this brother was a Khalifa for the same amount of time. Cold individual when it came to that deen. Look what he said. He said, I searched for 4 things. So I found them in 4 types of people, 4 groups of people. I searched for disbelief. So he's looking into the Muslim though. I looked for disbelief. I looked for kufr. And I found it in the Jahmiyyah. Subhanallah azim. I searched for kalam, rhetoric, and shahar, controversy. And I found it in the Mu'tazila. I searched for the lies, so I found it with the Rafida. And when I searched for the truth, I found it with the people of Hadith. So you have to understand, he's just looking for these 4 things. He's looking for it in every single group. So he only found the truth with the people of Hadith. He found the lies with the Rafida, the extreme Shiites. He found the rhetoric and the kalam and controversy, basically just a bunch of made up, this is how we feel, this is what we think, over analytical, analyzing simple things, making them complex. He found that stuff with the Mu'tazila, which was birthed into the group that we have to deal with today, where you can find these same things in that group, but we won't continue with that. And then when he found the people of Kufr, just up on disbelief, is the Jahmiyyah, which people should look into the Jahmiyyah, man, because the Jahmiyyahs, they something else, man. So then we have another one, right, by Abu Ja'far al-Nufaili, right? He said, if there is anyone up on the face of the earth who is saved, then it is those who study Hadith. So this is from a basic book of Jawad Tardil, where they start to teach you the science of looking at defects and different things into hadiths. So D's, I got a question for you in just 1 second, right? In just 1 second. Okay, we're gonna leave off this one, but I will. Before I do that, I'm gonna read this one little part right here, right? So it says, heavy responsibility. Many of them who test their pupils. But I don't want to skip all that. So basically, well, we gonna leave that for another day. We're gonna leave that for a private session. So I'm gonna say the question I want to ask these is, who started or kicked off this science of checking hadiths, making sure hadith is authentic, and you know what I'm saying? Who Who was the first one that started this science? Mumtaz, Umar ibn Khattab. That is extremely correct. So, Umar ibn Khattab basically started off the science of checking hadiths. So this is a science that goes directly to the Sahaba and the Khalifa, right? Because Umar was a Khalifa. So, let's see something here. Let me pull up one real quick. Now this is something that y'all hear me quote. Now this is another book, but it's about the science of Jawad Tadil, right? So I've talked about this, but I never read where I got it from. So I'm gonna read just a little bit of it, right? So, elucidating a custom that was common among the fellow students of Hadith, right? So, Abu al-Abaya al-Riyahi said that before learning Hadith from a certain sheikh, they used to watch how this sheikh performed the salah. If they performed it perfectly, they would consider him reliable and would learn from him. However, they would leave him alone if his prayer didn't look like what was in accordance with hadith. Okay? This is how serious they was about this in the earlier times in the times of the deen. He's supposed to be a scholar of hadith. We're finna come learn hadith from him, but he don't even pray in accordance with authentic hadiths. We not gonna learn from him. Right? Not saying he ain't no scholar, but we're not gonna learn hadith from him. He don't even pray in accordance with authentic hadith. Right? This seems to have been an influence of the Quran teaching that the observance of prayer deters the observer from wrongdoing. Right? So the one who up on their prayers, this and that, they're going to carry it a particular type of way. So like they said, in some more explanations, if they're not going to take care of their deen enough to pray in accordance with authentic hadiths, they're not going to take care of the deen enough to be careful about what they teach you. Okay? So like me mentioning this and reading this hadith, that's why I say when I don't know about a masjid or something like that, and I'm traveling, or like for instance here, and it's a whole new administration and people done took over this masjid, let me go pray with them. I want to see how they pray. I want to see what's to them. I can see even by the way they move their finger in tashahud or tashahud, like some people say. I watch how they move their finger. If they doing like this and that, then I could tell they might be from a particular madhab. If they doing like this, that's a different one. If they just keeping it straight like this, so it's little things that you could tell, so that way you could know who you dealing with. Because like as y'all can see, I keep that same mannerism with this channel and people in the comments and people who contact me, because I have somewhat of an understanding of what it is that they should be understanding. So I can deal with them on their level, not like my level of understanding is higher than theirs, but I can meet them on their level. You know what I'm saying? Especially when I see how they understand, I can listen and see and be like, okay, you don't really understand that. You just been listening to people. You repeating stuff you heard. And etc. So this is how careful they was when they're going to really sit down at the foot of a person and learn and be tested and prodded and make sure they deen is together. So that's how serious they was. You don't even take care of your deen enough. I fear you're not going to care about what you try to instill in me. But these was heavy hitters themselves. So they had enough knowledge to say, okay, no, we're not going to sit with him. Because you look at Imam Bukhari. While Imam Bukhari was a scholar, he still sat and learned from scholars. All of them did. Imam Ahmed, Ibn Hanbal, Shafi'i, all of them, they learned from other scholars. So, I'm trying to see where I really want to start, right? We just gonna get to the Hadith sessions. So look, let's see how the Salaf actually used to carry it, right? So once Muawiyah, may Allah be pleased with all of these brothers and have mercy on them all, right? Entered the mosque, the masjid of hymns, and saw a group of people sitting there. He asked them what they were doing. They replied, now this is in the masjid, they replied, we are studying and memorizing the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whereupon he told them that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam entered the masjid one day and found a number of his companions sitting there. He asked them the reason for their gathering, and they said, we performed a prayer, then we sat in order to study the book of Allah and the sunnah of his prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Anas bin Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, declared that they, the companions, used to study and repeat hadiths after they had heard them from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam until they had learned them by heart. Okay? So this is how they took care of hadiths, but not just for learning and learning isnads, just to go around and repeating them to sound knowledgeable, to act up on them, to use them as a gauge. There's a particular situation going on in front of me. How do I deal with this situation Islamically, legally? What's the legal way to deal with this situation? So they would have to use Quran and Sunnah, but you got to know Quran and Sunnah in order to legally deal with this situation. And when I say legally, I'm a dumb it down a little bit and say in a way that Allah is going to accept. That's the importance of Sharia. See, some people start to get into these things and think they could just do Islam however they want and come up with all these sayings and whatever they feel like. But you have to understand, Allah Azza wa Jal is only going to accept Islam. And then when you look at the Quran, I read it the other day because in Arabic it don't necessarily say Sharia. It'll say like an ordained way or a perfect way. But in the Arabic it says Sharia, where he makes it clear that he put Rasul Allah on a Sharia, a legal way for performing Islam, the law of Islam, right? So when you know how to use your gauge, your Islamic gauge, when you come across every situation in life, you need to know how to deal with that situation Islamically, legally, in a way that Allah is going to accept it. A lot of us still deal with things the way that the people in our environment deal with things. Sometimes it's cool, but then sometimes we really opposing Quran and Sunnah because we don't know Quran and Sunnah. Alright? So, just showing, this was the way of the Salaf. This was the way of the Sahaba. They would sit in the masjid and have hadith sessions. But see, nobody hear about those things. Right? They would have hadith sessions. Right? So, just to explain a little bit, right? Hold on. So the scholars at that time used to seize opportunities and times that were suitable for holding these sessions and advise their students to do the same. In the books of hadiths, one encounters several statements on the subject. So, the way that basically Umar ibn Khattab, right, was in a situation, a brother came over his house and knocked on his door 3 times. Umar didn't tell him to enter or anything. You know, he was expecting him to come in, so the brother left. But Umar came and caught him like, why you didn't just come in? And he said, the Rasul told me when you go to somebody's house, if you knock 3 times, not like this, not that type of not like, they don't come to the door, you might get a little louder. So y'all get the point. You do that 3 times, even if you know they're in the house, and like, you know, because like it might be the summertime, so they big door may be open and the screen door isn't locked, so you can hear TV and stuff in there, but you might not see somebody, and they might be a good friend of yours who wouldn't mind if you step in and be like, hey, they might be expecting you to come by. But if they don't come to the door and tell you to come in, you don't go in the house. So he told Umar, I didn't come in because the Rasul told me this. You come to somebody's house, if you knock 3 times and they don't tell you to come in, then don't enter their home. So Umar, boom, you done presented some type of hadith. You done attributed it to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I ain't never heard that. Rasul ain't never tell me that. So I'm finna ask, has anybody else heard this hadith? And if they haven't, I'm finna inflict the punishment on you. Okay? I'm finna inflict the punishment on you. So this started to be the science of checking hadiths and what people said. So then when he said, is there anybody else who heard this from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And then like Abu Zayd, I think it was, he stepped up and said, yeah, the Rasul did narrate that to us. So this happened more than one time in Umar's life. So like even to the point where sometimes instead of, because on this incident it was like, okay, if nobody else say they heard that, I'm finna put belt on you. Or worse. You know what I'm saying? Because you attributing something to Rasulullah. So in other incidents, when it started to happen more, he didn't go straight to, if you lying, I'm putting belt on you. He would be like, hey, did anybody else heard this? Go get such and such. I know he was with the Rasul all the time. and bring him so we can ask him about this hadith. How authentic is this? Is this authentic statement? Is this sahih? You know what I'm saying? And then they would be like, yeah. And then because it was one time it happened and he got sad and was like, you know, how did I miss this? And you know, he said, I must have been busy working and doing business that I didn't get these hadiths from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this started the science of checking the authentication of hadiths, right? So you have this one right here, right? But this ain't really that important, right? This is just basically showing, going into the science where it got to the point where they had to start saying, what's the isnad? But the point that I wanted people to understand is how they felt about the sunnah. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for implementing, when we get into a certain situation, we need to know how to deal with it legally in a way that Allah Azza wa Jalla is going to accept. And on top of that, in a way where we're going to be rewarded for this. Because we don't want to get the opposite of the reward. We don't want to get punished. So when you learn these type of things, this is showing part. What we did was we using the minhaj, the methodology. Let's go and look. We're going to call ourselves Salafis. Let's go and look and see what they felt about these particular sciences, right? Because our main subject is how to be athari, right? The texts, the hadiths, the athar, this stuff was so important to them, to the point even if they looked at somebody and this person didn't pray in accordance with the hadiths that they knew, they wouldn't take knowledge from them. That's how strict they was. And just pointing that out, you can start to see we not like that today. And this is before all of this kalam and all of this rhetoric and all these different things that have been brought into the mix and all these compromises. So let's look at a couple of hadiths, right? So we could decide what do you do, how do you use minhaj in a situation like this? Alright, so this is a hadith in Sahih Muslim, right? Also in Walulu wa Marjan, right? You know, Bukhari and the Sahihains. This is in Bukhari and Muslim. So Aisha said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam started the prayer with the glorification of Allahu Akbar, and the recitation started with Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, right? So she didn't say he started with the Bismillah. Alright? Not saying, you know, we'll get into that as we go on. I got a little surprise for some of y'all when it comes to the second hadith. So look, then it goes into when he bowed and this and that. But look at this. So I'm using Sahih Muslim because it got the explanation of Imam An-Nawawi in it. And I love reading his explanations because, one, he's Ash'ari, and I'll be looking like I'm telling y'all, man, and I said it in other videos, but some people never seen them. It was a time like 40 Hadith of Nawawi and some of those other books. I don't have them on my shelf. I didn't want no books by Imam Nawawi because he was Ash'ari. When I started, so like I said, when I ended up getting this set, because I don't want to make this too long, but I got this set for a particular reason from somebody who was in the class, because I got Sahih Muslim already, right? But this is an explanation. So when I started reading and looking to the explanations, I was like, man, Imam Nawawi is cold with the deen, to the point where I said I can't understand how he was Ash'ari. But I didn't know at this time that the Ash'aris of the past wasn't like the Ash'aris of today. All right. And then he was Shafi'i in fiqh. A lot of these Ash'aris today, they are Maliki. So I'd like to see the contrast, but I see the way he does things, and then he, by him being a scholar and not just a low-level cat, no disrespect to him, he can give you the haq from a level that they still can't even perceive yet. So he'll give you the opinion from all four madhabs. So, boom, Athari, Minhaj. When it comes to this hadith, check this out. Aisha, the wife of Rasulullah, may Allah be pleased with her, right, said that when the Rasul started his prayer, he started with saying Allahu Akbar. Nothing more, nothing less, and nothing different. Okay? So Imam Nawawi puts in the hadith. This hadith confirms that the prayer starts with the particular glorification, Allahu Akbar, which is normally referred to as takbir. It is confirmed, it's stamped that the Prophet did this, and that he said, "Pray as you have seen me pray." As you've seen me pray. Double stamped. It got to be done. It's certified. It's what Allah is going to accept. Alright? So, that this particular glorification must form the start of the prayer is the view of Imam Malik, Imam Shafi'i, and Imam Ahmed, right? Ibn Hanbal, as well as the majority of the early scholars. Basically, now you got to keep in mind, with the early scholars, you got to think of the time that Imam Nawawi lived in. And now that I'm saying that, I made a mistake in my video, a slip of the tongue, because I said Imam Nawawi and them didn't say those things about Ibn Taymiyyah. I didn't mean to put Imam Nawawi in there because Ibn Taymiyyah was like 6-7 years old when Imam Nawawi was alive. So he wasn't even into his scholarship. So I didn't mean Imam Nawawi. I just thought about that. I did say that in that video. That was a slip of the tongue. But the other Ash'aris of that time that was like Imam Nawawi, they didn't say these things about Ibn Taymiyyah that these new people say. So, it says, so when he's saying the early generation of scholars, these is like the ones who came before him, and the recent generations, which is his generation. Because this is Imam Nawawi. So you get to see how old this is. Sometimes when we're reading this, we may look at it as early generational scholars, and then when they say recent generations, we may think of the scholars of our time. That's a mistake. This is Imam Nawawi explanation. So this is a very old 1,000-year-old, 900-year-old. So we talking about recent generation as in his generation. So, but then it says, Abu Hanifa, however, said that any similar glorification may be used. Now your minhaj and your we athery. So basically, in accordance with the Hanafi madhab, now in this day and time, you may have some cleanup now, because over time, different debates. That's why I be saying some of the stuff that people do in the later generations, it wasn't the original way of Imam Malik. Some of his students did things. Some of Shafi'i students did things. Imam Hanbal students did things. And then their students, then their students, and then their students. You know what I'm saying? Through the going back and forth, losing a debate about this and that, and then they changing up their hand. This is just facts. This is some stuff people don't necessarily generally always talk about, because they feel like that's for people to discuss that's already on that level, because people who really haven't studied, it could be a danger in talking about this type of stuff around them because it might confuse them. I don't feel that way. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at this and you see this was the early generation. So what he's saying is you could start, and according to Abu Hanifa in the Hanafi madhab, you could start your prayer off by doing like this. Alhamdulillah. Subhanallah. You see what I'm saying? It don't have to be Allahu Akbar. Subhanallah azim wa bihamdihi. So, when you athari, and then you look at the minhaj, did the Rasul ever say that? Did the companions ever say that? Now, we're not going to say the Salaf, because Imam Hanifa was from the Salaf, and he is considered to be the Salaf as-Salih. So like for the ones who say we follow the understanding of Quran and Sunnah in accordance with the Salaf as-Salih, okay, cool. Imam Hanifa was from the Salaf as-Salih. So if you end up in a situation, and trust me, I have seen, because you got to keep in mind, I always say it, the masjid here is a Hanafi Tablighi Jamaat masjid before they split. But the person who was an Arab who went and got the other masjid that we went with, he was a member of the Tablighi Jamaat. And it always blew my mind, like, hey man, you Arab, man, how did you end up being in the Tablighi Jamaat? But that's neither here nor there. So, if Abu Hanifa was from the Salaf as-Salih, and we follow the Quran and Sunnah with the understanding that he has, this is the misconception. And this is why I'm breaking it down. Is it cool for us to go, Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah? We follow Quran and Sunnah with the understanding of the Salaf as-Salih, right? Ain't it permissible for us to do that? So like some people may end up in a situation where this is what they've been taught. This is the only thing that they've heard. I personally seen some people do that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to be honest with you. Before I knew that this was a thing, I thought it was just a slip of the tongue. You know, I've been praying and had a slip of the tongue before. So I just figured it was a slip of the tongue. But, so, how do you rectify this situation if you come across a situation like this? One, there's ijma from the other three madhabs. These three going in accordance with the matin. But let's say you're not familiar with this hadith. Because some people go straight to the fiqh books. They don't look at the hadiths. And they just go and look and say, because some people under the belief system that, for instance, Imam Hanifa, he went and looked at the entire deen and then put it all in a school of thought so that we don't have to read hadiths. We could just go look and see what he said and issue the ruling. Imam Shafi'i did that. So we don't need to look at hadiths and stuff. Imam Malik did that. So we don't need to look at hadiths or no Quran ayahs. We just go straight to the book of the madhabs and see what the ruling is. But this is why I advise people, when you in those situations, do comparative. Look at what all of them say. Because the problem is, and people fall into this fanaticism, they only go look at the one that they possibly prefer, or whoever their friends advise them to, or whatever. Or they may just Google this, and then depending on the website, it may just say this and never tell them what madhab it is or where it come from. But see, Athery, I need that text, baby. I need the matin. I'm doubtful on that thing. So I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stay away from it because you made it a doubtful matter until I go look into it. But if it's a situation where I see this without seeing the hadith, because I'm looking in a book of a madhab, I know, okay, Imam Malik, Imam Shafi, Imam Hanbal, they done gave consensus on it. It's 3 against 1. Let me go with them in this moment until I could go look at it. That's how you be Athery. That's how you be Salafi. You understand? That's what it's really all about. And until, like I say, until people actually start putting these things into practice, it's just a label. And like some people may have never heard of this. But then some people might jump in my comment and say, nah, the only way to do it is by saying Subhanallah. You could choose whichever one. Okay, and like I'm going to be like, okay, cool, alhamdulillah. Show me that from Quran and Sunnah. Crickets. Because they only going to be able to find that in their madhab books. And then you have these tricky, slippery tongue ones who manipulate the word isnad. Everything is being corrupted. Oh, well, what's the isnad to this, the isnad to that? And then they'll take an isnad to a person, but just totally throw away all the isnads that actually go to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the companions. Just like this isnad starts with Aisha, but so this is technically an athar, because it ain't like the Rasul told me to say. She's saying what he used to do. So this is what you would call the athar. This is a narration of a companion, which happened to be his wife. So it's still attached to Rasulullah, because this was his wife and she seen him do this in the house and when they prayed in the masjid. So people play this slippery isnad game, but they totally reject these type of isnads. So when you Athery, we need that text. We need that text. So now that you know it's a thing, you might be somewhere and you might act like, if you travel and you go different places, you might walk in a masjid and see somebody, alhamdulillah. You know what I'm saying? But some people, depending on how they've been taught to be Salafi, they might totally just throw a whole X on that person and get into some type of wrong way of arguing with them. I mean, that's a bit out there, because they never heard of this and they don't understand. This is something from their madhab. Now, the dalil that he used to come up with that, this is why you have to understand these things that come from kalam and rhetoric. Sometimes it's just their opinion because this is what they seen other people doing or what they was taught. There is no dalil for it that attaches to the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I've never seen it. I never even seen nothing weak on it. And then the way Imam An-Nawawi does and explain things by him just saying that Imam Hanifa, however, said that any similar glorification may be used, he's making it clear this is from his opinion. Because usually he'll say, if they had some type of dalil, it'd be like, okay, this was a hadith, it was a weak, and they used this weak hadith, but the strongest opinion is this because you have hadiths. So when they leave it open like that, it was just the opinion of this particular person. So this is also to show, and for anybody feeling like I singled this out to attack Imam Hanifa, that's not what I'm doing. And it's not me having something against the Hanafi madhab, because every last one of them have a situation like this. And what I'm pointing out is they're not as flawless as looking at the text. Because some people is under the mindset that we don't have to look at none of the text. These imams combed through and sifted the whole entire deen out and made it perfect. Or they'll sit down and say, in a situation like this, if they on some fanaticism, no, Imam Hanifa didn't make a mistake. There's just a difference in opinion, and you could choose which one you want to do. That's how some people look at it. Okay, cool, alhamdulillah. But where's the text? And that's why I try to make clear to people, if they get to the point where they start dealing with hadiths, as something of a matter that's as serious as this, you wouldn't have to comb through hadiths or athar like you're looking for a needle in a haystack. It would be right there if this was something really common amongst the Rasul and the companions. Even like right now, with me even just reading this, some people gonna be like, man, I never heard that before. But this is an explanation of Imam An-Nawawi, and this is from what was going on during his time. So like I said, some things, because some of their students didn't agree with some of the teachers of the madhab, especially Imam Abu Hanifa. Some of his students went against a lot of stuff that he said, and they changed things in the madhab. So like some of this didn't reach people today. Or you might have to be over there in India around some Deobandis, extreme Hanafis as some people call them, to make see this. But like I said, I seen it here in this city years ago, and I just considered it to be a slip of the tongue. So what we learning? You got to know your minhaj, man. And when you athari, dealing with being athari, you got to learn how to stick to the text. So just to put in a little bit more context, the original group that they referred to as Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, it was the people that was athari. That was the Athari brothers that was the original Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. So when somebody ended up joining Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they didn't have these beliefs that goes against that Athari creed. Do you understand? So look, let me show y'all another hadith. Inshallah ta'ala. Let's look at one more, man, real quick, and then wrap it up, man. And this one, I love this hadith, man. I love this hadith. And I'm going to show y'all something about it, right? So, okay. And it shows, man, Umar ibn Khattab, right? So again, this is another athar. So this is in Muslim, and this is in Bukhari. Right? Athar just basically mean hadith from one of the companions, and y'all figure it out. But this is an athar, right? A narration. Umar ibn al-Khattab said, I heard Hisham ibn Hakim ibn Hazm reciting Surah Al-Furqan in a different way from how I recite it. Right? It was Allah's messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who taught me. I was about to stop him short, but then I let him continue until he finished his prayer. And then I held him with the top of his robe. Basically, he yoked him up like this, right? But more hadiths make it clear that it was violently, right? I yoked him up at the top of his robe around his neck and basically dragged him to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I said, O Messenger of Allah, I heard this one reciting Surah Al-Furqan in a different way from how you taught me. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told Umar to release him and then told the brother to recite. Umar says he recited in the same way I heard him reciting earlier. Rasulullah said, this is how it was revealed. He then told Umar to recite. I recited and he said, this is how it was revealed. This Quran has been revealed in 7 ways of pronunciation. Right? Recite it in a way, in whichever way you find it easiest for you. Boom. 7 different ways to recite Quran al-Kareem. So there's 7 different readings. So this is why sometimes you will see some people say Maliki Yawmiddin or Maliki Yawmiddin. Right? But check this out. Watch this right here. Another one on it. Right? So Ubay ibn Ka'b said that the Prophet was at the water of the Ghafar tribe, Abu Dhar and them people, when Jibreel came to him and said, Allah commands you that your community should recite the Quran in one way of pronunciation. So Jibreel said, Allah said, y'all got to recite in one recitation. Right? Rasul said, I pray to Allah for his pardon and forgiveness. My community cannot do that. Okay? He came to him a second time and said, Allah commands you that your community should recite the Quran in 2 ways of pronunciation. So, as you can see, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, well, hold on, let's just finish, right? Your community should recite the Quran in 2 ways of pronunciation. He said, I pray to Allah for his pardon and forgiveness. My community cannot do that. He came to him a third time and said, Allah commands you that your community should recite the Quran in 3 ways of pronunciation. He said, I pray to Allah for his pardon and forgiveness. My community can't do that. He came to him a 4th time and said, Allah commands you that your community should recite the Quran in 7 ways of pronunciation. Whichever pronunciation they recite shall be correct. Choose that one that's easier for them. Right? So you can even see when the Rasul issued this stuff out to Umar and said what he said to them, what did he have? Dalil. Rasulullah didn't just come up with stuff from his own person. He knew to be able to tell him that because this is a conversation that he had with Jibreel. But look at this. Before I show y'all this, right? Because it kind of made me laugh, right? To show how honest that these scholars was, right? Look, Ubay ibn Ka'b mentioned that when the Prophet commanded the two people recitation, which were different from what he learned from the Prophet, he experienced some thoughts of denial. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I don't know about this. I ain't feeling this, right? But nothing like what it was before I left, before Islam. So I'm not as bad as I was before I accepted Islam and not believing in it. But right now, a little something that got in my heart, like, you know, some denial. Like, maybe the Quran ain't what it is. What you mean it's two ways and this and that, right? They reciting it different than me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because some of the wording. But look what he says, right? This means that Shaitan raised in him some thoughts of denying the prophethood, and that this was harder for him than it was before Islam. Prior to becoming a Muslim, he was unaware of the truth or doubtful about it. Now Shaitan raised in him thoughts of denying prophethood altogether, and this was harder, right? Commenting on Ubay's statement, Qadi Iyad said, I experienced some thoughts means that he felt amazed and perplexed, and nothing like what it was before Islam, meaning that Shaitan raised in him a sort of denial that he did not believe. If such thoughts are not maintained, one is not accountable for them. Al-Mazari said, what this means is that Abu Ibn Qubay experienced an unstable situation that was raised by Shaitan, and that it immediately disappeared when the Prophet struck him in the chest and profusely perspired. So the Rasul got him back together. So some people, 7 different recitations of the Quran, we hear about them. So what I'm going to show y'all is all 7 recitations has been preserved. You can actually get a Quran with every recitation. And I'll show y'all a few differences in them. Alhamdulillah. So like right here, this one is the main one of the main recitations for Kufa. So like the Qurans that we generally have in America is Hafs. So a lot of y'all, basically Hafs being forced up on a lot of us in America, right? So when you look at this one, the main recitation in Kufa, let me see if I can get that up there. I really just want y'all to see. So this is Al-Fatiha. You see the number 1 right here. It counts the Bismillah as an ayat, even though the Hadith say the recitation started with Alhamdulillah. Okay, so this is showing where some of the differences come in. So it counts the Bismillah as an ayat, and then also, y'all can't see it, but instead of Alayhim, it says Alayhimu, right? Alayhimu, right? Even here, Surat al-Ladina and Amta Alayhimu, right? Or Alayhum, my bad, I'm sorry. I'm getting too far myself, right? Alayhum. So there's some little bit of differences, right? And then also you look right here, right? In your Surah Al-Baqarah, it got your Alif Lam Mim, right? As the first ayat. But don't count the Bismillah. So this was the main recitation in Kufa. One of the main recitations. Then when you come to another one, right? Now this is showing the truthfulness in these hadiths. And like I said, I'm just showing y'all some general stuff. So when you look at this one, it don't count the Bismillah as the first ayat. Right? It starts with the Alhamdulillah as the first ayat. And then you look over here, it don't count Alif Lam Mim as the first ayat. It count the whole entire thing. Right? Alif Lam Mim. So look. So it count all of that as the first ayat. So there are some differences. And this one right here is Warsh. This is the recitation of Medina. This is my zone. This is the recitation that I love. Some people think it's about the sound and this and that. And let me show y'all another different thing in Warsh. So this is the recitation in Medina. So some people who study the Qira'at, they say Warsh is the Sunnah. This was the main recitation of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because this is what they was reciting in Medina. So like, if you see, I know it ain't gonna show up really good, but when you look at like Surat al-Nas, Surat al-Falaq, instead of Qul, it says Qula, right? Qula. There's a few differences. I'm gonna show y'all one more as far as the inside. So that's 2, right? And then this one right here, this is the main recitation of Mecca, right? Now watch what I show y'all. Look at this right here. This is something that I want y'all to peep. So this one is in Mecca, and as you can see, it counts the Bismillah as the first ayat, but it don't count the Alif Lam Mim as the first ayat in Baqarah. You see what I'm saying? And it has I was pronouncing this one Alayhimu instead of Alayhim or Alayhum, which is what's in the other one I just read to you, and then this one is Alayhimu, right? So this is just some of the differences that's in them. So just to start showing a 3 on the inside, what I show y'all, 3. So that's 3 recitations. Then you have 4. This was one of the main recitation in Basra, Iraq. Let's see what they say with the Fatiha. So again, another one that don't count the Bismillah as the first ayat, right? Also don't count Alif Lam Mim as the first ayat. So that's what we got. That's 5. Then this one right here, Al-Qisai, another recitation of Kufa and a different area, right? But it was mainly, like I said, Kufa had a couple of recitations. Now this one, it counts Bismillah as the first ayat and Alif Lam Mim as the first ayat. So just to show, there's actually 7 recitations. And then here go the 7th book. Well, no, this 6 because I ain't put up, the regular Quran that y'all use, that we use, that's in Hops. I didn't even bring that one over here because hopefully everybody had one and they've looked at them. So then here go another one. This was the recitation of Syria. Yeah, this was the main recitation of Syria, right? And you could see they didn't count the Bismillah as the first ayat, right? And they didn't count the Alif Lam Mim as the first ayat. So there's more differences in them. So then the other Quran is Hafs, which is the one that y'all have. So that's 6 of them. So just showing in accordance with the Hadiths, these recitations have been preserved. Like you can really get to them and learn them. Now the beauty is, a lot of people don't know you could buy the Qurans with the recitation in them. So one thing I like to do is, when I find me a Quran teacher and they say that they could teach the Qiraat, right? I'll start to take their class, but they don't know that I have the book with the recitation in it. And then I see if they try to dupe me and try to teach me Hafs. And all I'm going to say is, Wallahi, I'm just going to say more than one person tried to do that. And then when I say something to correct them, not saying, I just say, well, I was under the understanding that it say this or it start that way. And they'd be like, nah. But I won't tell them I got the book. So like, even if I tell them, let's switch up recitation, if they say they know all 7 of them, I got the Quran. So you can't just tell me anything. You see what I'm saying? You can't just tell me anything. Or if they think, what I've seen is, instead of the pronunciation and the way that they move, they would just be reciting Hafs with a different tone. As a matter of fact, with the Hadith, Imam An-Nawawi explains where the scholars differ and say that some scholars do feel like it's one Quran wording, but you just do your voice and your tone 7 different ways. So when I bumped into some who basically did that, I'm like, nah. You know what I'm saying? And like sometimes when I start to deal with certain classes, sometimes I'm gonna be honest with y'all, like if I meet somebody and I know them in person and they say they want to take some Arabic classes or they want to memorize Quran or something, and I'm busy and I can't sit with them all the time, I tell them I'm going to find them a teacher, wallahi, and then I will take a sample class with them, or I'll sign up to see what's really to the teacher before I let them go on to them. Because if they're not a good teacher, and I've been through it long enough so I know the game that's played, because the longer a person can keep you in class, the more money they make. Unfortunately, man, it's been turned into a hustle. You feel me? For some people. You know what I'm saying? In some of these poor countries, and you can get online, they get the internet. You know what I'm saying? Charge you $100 a month, $50 a month or something, $100 a month, something like that. Man, that's like $300-$400 to them over there. So I take some classes with them to see what type of teacher they is, and I don't let them know. Like, even when they tell me to recite and they say it, I'll follow along with them exactly how they said it, even if it's a mistake in it, or I'll make a mistake to see if they correct me. You see what I'm saying? So y'all gotta know. This is the intricate details of the deen. So me also mentioning this, just like for instance, where I guess I could show that real quick before we wrap it up. Let me look at this one right here. Okay, hold on. Let me find one of them. One second. Okay, so like right here, you can see where it says, well, y'all probably can't see it, but this one right here says Maliki Yawm Al-Din, right? because it has. That's why they got that red. What some people refer to as an erected factor. A erected factor where you drag the A, so then or you elongate it, and then you see right here. This one just has Maliki Yawmiddin, right? Maliki Yawmiddin, Maliki Yawmiddin, right? Maliki Yawmiddin, Maliki Yawmiddin. So the differences is actually written in them, and that's why sometimes you hear people. Some people may not have, but you will hear people pronouncing them different ways, but they actually come from different qirats. You know what I'm saying? Which is both correct. And that's why I say, see, I had a Quran, and I sit with a teacher, and I sit up and have a Quran, I'll be like, yeah, okay. You ain't finna come up off me, B. You know what I'm saying? You're not finna come up off me, B. And like right now, I'm even gonna show y'all. And look, they've been hitting me up since January the 11th. Let me show y'all some of the messages. Now look at this. This is a funny part. Man, I hit these people up for somebody about, look, I'm acting like that's really gonna show. So I hit them up like maybe around August. So they just hit me up around January 8th, and I'm gonna show y'all what they do. Because Ramadan be coming up, they want to turn their hustle up and get some Ramadan money. Not all of them. And I'm saying this because wallahi, these is conversations I done had with a couple of them. So they finally hit me back up talking about, are you serious about learning? So I'm like, yeah. So they said, okay, when you free for an assessment? I ain't gonna tell them where I'm at with it. So I'm gonna get a free assessment, right? So I hit them up and was like, you know, what y'all charge? Look at it. So look, they hit me with a little list. Y'all can't see it. Of what they charging, but this January the 11th. So they saying the price is following: $5 per class for 30 minutes, $7 for 40 minutes, and then $10 for an hour. But they also teach fiqh, hadith. It ain't just Quran and Arabic. So they teach, and this is a real institute, right? They teach hadith, fiqh, tafsir, Sharia, which basically Sharia and fiqh go hand in hand. It's they got a decent little fundamental thing, and they don't know what's to me. So basically $10 an hour. So if I want to spend $40 and do 2 hours a week with them, whether it's Arabic, whether it's this and that, and you know I might set up a little Arabic because I'm rusty. You know what I'm saying? On my conversational part. So I might set up a little something with them, and I'm going to set up a Quran thing with them. You know what I'm saying? Throw them $80, right? Throw them $80, 2 Quran classes a week. Or I might do because I can set up how I want. Let me get 2 Arabic classes. So that's 4 classes a week, 4 hours for $80 a month. Let me get, and see, sometimes you can haggle with them. Because I go talk to another teacher, and they in Egypt, right? So I go talk to another teacher. I know because I know several institutes, right? I go talk to another institute and then show them what they trying to charge me, and then knock the price down, and then I show them. Because they you know what I'm saying, they be on one. I'm just keeping it 100 with y'all, right? So I'll probably set up, throw them $80. 2 Quran classes, 2 Arabic classes, 1 Quran class, and 1 Hadith class. They don't know what's to me. They don't know what my Arabic is like. They don't know what my Quran recitation is like. And they don't know how I am with Hadiths. And then we get in the classroom, And I can sit down and be like, yeah, you full of it. You full of it. Or they might be decent, and I'd be like, okay, alhamdulillah. Then I'll let them win, like, okay, I'm a little bit more advanced. We could move to this, I know this, and then we could go up to this and that. Let's move forward. You know what I'm saying? And then if they be cool, then I'll recommend them to other people. But just for the simple fact, and like I said, I really contacted them for somebody who lived here that said they wanted to do some classes, and they just now saying something back to me. They hit me up. They originally text me on January the 8th. And then it took a few days, and this message been sitting, this last message they sent me on January 11th, I haven't even responded to it. I just opened it up just to show it to y'all. So, it's some decent, I'm going to be honest with y'all, it's some decent institutions, and it's not people that's just talking. Let me close, man, but I'm going to put y'all up on my man. And it's crazy because they basically jugged on him, man. Dude is the pioneer of this stuff. My man, though, Abdul Latif, I'm going to put y'all up on his institute for some people who may be interested in some low-key stuff, right? So, this right here is the Arabic Virtual Academy. Let me try to get that close, man. Get some of that glare off. Y'all see that black brother right there? He from Philly. In a way, I can't wait till he come home. But then I don't want him to come back here because he extremely mild and he from Philly and the Salafis hate him. You know, in Egypt, he's been in Azhar University, man. Like, he about to have a PhD. Cold with the dean. Especially when it comes to like Sharia and fiqh. You know, he started off in comparative fiqh, and then he went off to Shafi'i fiqh, where he specialized in Shafi'i fiqh, right? And then he transitioned that into Sharia. So he going to get his PhD. So he already got a master's, and he in a PhD program right now, right? But he started this academy called the Arabic Virtual Academy, where they got some strong sciences in there, right? But they have Quran and Arabic. This was the first online institution that I joined, but at the time, they didn't really have none. And he has real teachers from Azhar universities teaching. Or like some of the scholars who teach people Quran in the masjid, they will he'll schedule the time with them. And that's why, like, the first Quran teacher I had was a scholar of the Quran who Arabic wasn't good. Right? So, but like, let me show y'all that again, man. The Arabic Virtual Academy, right? Just to show, because somebody asked me about some workshops and like some ijazahs. So he'll give you graduate from the programs where you get a diploma. That's basically the same thing as a ijazah in certain things. So like the special studies program, that's one of the programs I had entered when I had been in the Arabic classes like 3 months. So my Arabic was stronger then, conversational then, but this was in like 2013, right? This was in like 2013. So going without really talking, I lost a lot of my conversation, basically. Or I'm slow with it, I had to put it together. So anyway, dude got right here, he got a Aqidah Minhaj class, level 1, Hadith memorization and implementation course, level 1. But yeah, so like, let me pull it up and read a little bit of it to y'all. So I had tried to join one of his specialization classes, and that's the class where I was talking about. It was 3 Americans, and we got into that specialization class on fiqh and couldn't understand nothing because it was all Arabic. we were just sitting there like, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, so he got some specialization classes. So anyway, right here, the Hadith memorization and implementation course, right? We welcome all of you to our 4-level Hadith course. Many of you have come across this due to the fact that someone you know has already begun this course with us and has recommended that you register, right? In this course, we will be studying one Hadith every week for a period of 1 year. You're going to study one Hadith every week for the period of 1 year. Therefore, each week you will receive one short authentic Hadith in Arabic and English, which is easily memorized, and a small explanation of the Hadith and its benefit in our daily lives. This method has been proven beneficial by enabling our students to not only memorize and understand the Hadith, but also the ability to apply it. And this is why, like you hear me, I speak more on implementation than anything. It ain't about what you can speak on and what you could talk about, how many Hadiths you can memorize, how many Quran surahs you have memorized. I speak a whole lot about implementation. You see what I'm saying? So, like I said, so to understand, and you'll be able to have the ability to apply it in your life and recall to what it consists of in terms of meaning and application. You're going to be able to teach it to people. So one Hadith a week for you to memorize Arabic, English, Isnad, with an explanation and the benefit that you should get from the Hadith, right? And how you can implement it and apply it, and then you'll be able to teach it if you pass. So like I say, what will you gain? This course was designed to provide the following benefits to the students. Learn 52 at the 4 levels actionable hadiths so you can apply them in your life immediately. Receive an explanation of each hadith by email along with practical examples of how to apply them in your life immediately. Learn some important Arabic vocabulary so you can gain a deeper understanding of the Hadith. Receive memorization helpers and downloadable flashcards so that you can memorize the Hadith quickly. Course support from you're going to have an instructor, and if you ever have any questions, right? And then you receive both a certificate of participation, and if you finish, that's if you finish less than 4 levels, and a certificate of completion if you complete all 4 levels, which is technically excuse me, an ijazah, right? So I say the course is divided into 4 levels, each level having a 3-month duration, whereupon finishing of each of the 4 levels, you will receive a certificate of participation. So basically, it's $25 per level. So for 4, this is $100 a year for this Hadith course. So like if anybody interested in it, 1 Hadith per week. That's it. 1 Hadith per week. You learn to memorize it, right? Implement it into your life. You get an explanation of it. It's $100. That's it. $100 for the whole year. 1 Hadith every week for a whole year. So then he also has a Aqidah Minhaj. It's the same way, but I think it might be a little cheaper. Same way, but let me look. I think it's 3 levels instead of 4 though. Yeah. So this one is 3 levels. instead of 4 for the Akida Minhaj. So that's $75 for the whole year, $175. So he had different stuff like that, but you know, he have. I mainly was taking the Arabic and the Quran class, and then I signed up for a specialty class, and I paid for that first month, but I couldn't understand none of it. You know what I'm saying? And I probably sat in class for like 2 weeks just to learn from some mannerism. You know what I'm saying? And try to get my ears used to hearing Arabic. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of them, they kind of double-crossed him. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep it 100. And it wasn't him, but we had an incident where my teacher just stopped showing up after I paid. So I'm like, man, I'm contacting him. He not responding. I'm contacting my teacher. Nobody is responding. So I do this for a whole month. So I always pay through PayPal. That way, if they get fluky, PayPal will take your money back and give it to you. Wallahi, when I contacted PayPal and said they wasn't showing up for my classes and this and that, and a whole month done passed, PayPal contacted them. I'll say within 2 hours, I heard from the registration department, I heard from my teacher, and I heard from Abdul Latif. And you know, I know him, Abdul Latif, my man. So I'm like, he was like, man, brother, don't do this. It was a misunderstanding. I'm sitting up saying, I understand that part, but it should have been a misunderstanding a month ago. Ain't nobody been responding to me. It took PayPal for y'all to respond. So he was like, man, we changing the structure. You know, the administration wasn't getting your email to me and all this other stuff. So I told him, man, because I was feeling away. So I told PayPal to give me the money back, and I told him, man, I'll probably come back. But the teacher hit me up and said, you know, I understand what's happening, but then he plugged me with another teacher for a little bit cheaper outside of the institution. Yeah. And he was an actual real professor at Azhar University, and I did a free assessment with him, and he seen my bookshelf and all my hadiths, right? He had a PhD in Islamic studies. So for the same price, I was getting Arabic, Quran, and hadith classes just from the one teacher instead of having to have more than one teacher. And he increased it to an hour and a half so that we could do Quran, hadith, and but it was his teacher that hooked me up with the dude. So I said, man, I think they sabotaging him. And then next thing you know, all these people from Egypt and all these institutions, they just start popping up. He was the first one I ever seen that was like that. So I was like, man, I wonder if they sabotaged the program to put their other Egyptians on. So I ain't been in it for a minute, but the classes was beneficial. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even gonna lie. I still rock with them. We still cool to this day. And I'm gonna close on this, man, about the way the Salafis hate dude. He from Philly, man. I want him to come home because he real mild mannered and he cold. But I don't want to see him put up with this fitna, man. But he had some allergies or whatever, and cause he in Egypt, so his eyes was swelling up from the allergies, and you know he had to come on and address the unit. He made a video because the Salafis was talking about they had beat him up, man. That one of the brothers bust him all in the eye, caught him and punched him in the eye and all that. So he had to come out, man, and address everything. And I was just like, man, why them dudes be lying like that? But they hate him, man. They hate boy, man, because he too educated. And he from Philly. So, you know, as soon as he drop in Philly, they going to give him a masjid. He going to be a PhD too. You know what I'm saying? A doctor in his field. They just waiting for him to come home so they can give him a masjid. They hate him, bro. And then he know their reality. They be hating on the boy, slandering him, talking about they beat the man up and stuff, man. It's just crazy, man. But anyway, assalamu alaikum, man. You know, I hated that I made this that long. Little hadith session. Just to try to show y'all how to get a clear understanding on how to be Athari. Not just claiming the creed, and then use the minhaj, the methodology. Let's go look at how they viewed this thing, and then y'all can see I showed y'all I chose the hadith to show the differences in the madhabs, and just showing one didn't have text. One didn't have no text. All of them have something in there that's like that. And it's in something that's stamped, double, triple, quadruple stamped, that this has to be done and nothing else when you look at the sunnah. So you just have to be careful with them. Look at all of them. Don't just like how dude tried to say, the same cat who made up them lies about Bukhari. Oh no, you shouldn't study more than one madhab because you ain't never been to school. You don't understand they have comparative fiqh. They bust them down where you could compare them. See, some people learn madhabs to be teachers, and I study it because it teach you how to look at the Dalil, Quran and Sunnah, Ijma, to look at Dalil and study Dalil, so that you can come up with your own ruling. Not like it may be better than something else, but it show you how to really go through and come up the whole system to come up with a fiqh ruling when you study them, when you study the madhabs. And then, you know, but anyway, man, I'm not gonna keep letting it go any further, but just keep that in mind, man. And I'm not telling nobody they need to be Salafi. You don't need to claim nothing. You don't even have to call yourself Athari. But you do want to have that mentality. I need some text. I need Quran, Sunnah, Ijma before we go to anything else. Qiyas, Kalam, whatever. I need Quran, Sunnah, Ijma first. And then let's go from there. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yeah. I'll call you soon. I'm gonna call you in like 10 minutes. All right. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.